And I said, my God, this is the place. But when we went back to see Mohammed, he was waiting at the corner of the street, looking for us, and we ran towards each other. And he said to me in Arabic, my Arabic isn't very good. He said, "Take off your sunglasses so I can see your face." Now we're talking like that was like 50 years on. So it was a very emotional moment.
But he still recognized it.
And he still recognized me, but I recognized him. And then I stroked my grandfather's initials and I said, I recognized it. And that's how I knew. And he said, "خلينا كله زي ما كان," which I understand in Arabic means we left everything as it was. And he said the best time was when you were here, when your family was here.
That's amazing.
Lovely.
So that's Mohammed. It won't be 21 paintings. I won't have long stories about each one. So this is an image of the old Cataract in Aswan. We visited the old Cataract. We had high tea on the veranda overlooking the Nile, and you can see the feluccas passing by between the palm trees. High tea is absolutely divine. It's an English high tea with, what do you call it? Cream tea, scones, little sandwiches. So this is a representation, mother and daughter on the veranda of the old Cataract, which is in Aswan. And it's very well known because Agatha Christie wrote her book, Death on the Nile, from the old Cataract. She had a suite. It is named after her, the Agatha Christie suite.
What's this painting called?
It's called Afternoon Tea at the Old Cataract.
Beautiful, absolutely.
Lovely.
Thank you.
It's mesmerizing.
So this is Atineos, which is a very well-known location in Egypt, where in Alexandria, where you can have afternoon tea or hold events. It's an extremely well known, and I captured exactly how the main room is. And I don't think I see anyone I know, but I could probably do. And
when was this? Which time of day was this?
This was in the evening, the cocktail hour. As you can see, they're serving champagne.
So they just arrived.
They've just arrived. Thank you. Thank
It's
you, Lawrence. This is a very small painting. It's coming very large on the screen. It's, if you can put it down a little bit.
I'll just show it up. You can see the cinema and the.
Yeah, it's Cinemaria. Oh, you know, Lawrence and Lynn, I did a series of cinemas because I love it. This one is a small painting and it's called Cinema Rialto. It's actually, sadly, it was a magnificent small Art Deco building, which was demolished several years ago. The developers decided to build a big block of concrete units. So they demolished this beautiful little cinema. And to the chagrin of many Alexandrians, because they wanted to retain their heritage. I mean, this was definitely a heritage building. Inside was ornate, with the staircases and the flooring. It was amazing. And so the developer had their way. They did knock it down. And several years later, I was approached by a daily newspaper in Egypt asking if they can use my painting to illustrate an article they were writing about the Cinema Rialto, because they had no documentation of it back in the 30s, and that's the only one they could find. So that's rather sad. It's a sad era that's slowly being demolished.
Is the horse and buggy, is that how people used to get around?
Yes, Harabeya Hantour, I had the horse and buggy. So this is exactly how the Cinema Rialto looked. Next.
Yeah. Did all the men always wear fezzes?
A lot of men did. My grandfather did. However, my father was younger, so he didn't. But I know a lot of my grandfather's generation wore the tarbouche. It was they're here for, what did they call them? Effendi, for the gentlemen. A gentleman wore a tarbouch, and I believe that the tarbouch is the only headgear that is that you can actually wear at the table when you're eating. It's the only headgear that you don't have to take off.
So it's very polite.
This is a little aside, a little. So this is a painting of a garden. Dans mon jardin. It's just showing a villa with a garden. I love flowers, so this is just a little. And there were many villas in Egypt, many villas, many gardens like this.
Does this relate to your own home?
My home, actually, my mother. No, we lived in Alexandria. It was very much in the city. We had a block of apartments, 3 apartments, and the family lived in it. Italian architecture with the green shutters. But I think we had at the back of the house, we had, yes, actually, we had a small garden. I don't know if it was as soigné as this one, but we did have a garden at the back with a swing and lots of vines and a pagoda.
Lovely views.
I haven't got picture. We didn't have so many pictures.
No, it's beautiful.
Colours are amazing.
It's amazing the memory you've got to be
Yeah,
able.
oh, thank you.
Publishers properly when
Yes. Okay. I'm good. Voila. Now this is called Dawn at Mina House. I don't know why I call it Dawn. They're having a nightcap. The night is over. This is a bourgeoisie family, upper echelon, if you like. Well, you can see the furs, the jewelry. They had a wonderful evening, and now they're just relaxing over a nightcap. Now I called it the Mina House because it's a wonderful hotel in Cairo. The Mina House overlooks the pyramid. It's just practically at the foot of the pyramids, and it's a very well-known hotel. Now, a little aside, my parents who were married in Alexandria traveled for their honeymoon. They didn't go far. They took a train and went to Cairo for the honeymoon. They stayed at the Mina House for a month, and too much information. That's where I was conceived. Too much information.
You mean they didn't visit the pyramids?
They visited, they did everything. They were young, 20 and 25.
The pyramids
Here
now.
we are at the pyramid. Here we are.
Now this is called Family Holiday in Luxor. Visiting the antiquities. It's in the 1920s. Now this is representing my grandfather and his family with 4 children, but actually my grandfather had 6 children. Now there was always a nanny, and the nannies for some reason always came from Trieste, and it was a well-known fact that the nannies, professional nannies, came from Trieste. So the nanny taking a photo of the family dressed in all their the girls are dressed like little empresses. The boy is in his sailor suit, the father with the tarbouch and the white suit, the tutus, and that takes us back to the glory of Egypt in the 1920s.
I just showed the full picture.
Yeah.
Yes, the antiquities. Yeah.
The hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I had notes. I'm not even looking at my notes. Now,
That's fine. I've got notes as well. I'm not looking at them either.
I'm not looking. I feel very comfortable. I'm very happy. I painted this. This one is called The Way We Were. As you can see, the different way of dressing. Now, this actually makes me think of my grandfather. When I painted this, I did think of my grandfather. My grandfather, Nissim Mars, had a store on the other side of the Alexandria harbor in a place called Anfushi, which was more industrial. And he had a textile store, and I get very emotional when I speak about it. When my mother took me to visit him in the afternoons, that's how I found him with the neighbors. It was a mix of no one cared what religion you were, but that's how it was. He was always sitting in the afternoon having his afternoon coffee with his wari beads. And smoking the shisha with his neighbors, and it was always so joyful when I arrived. It was they were jocular. I was given lollies, and they were very, very, very happy. That's my memory of my grandfather at work. My grandfather at work was extremely happy.
And you said that he was in textiles, and I can see
was in
there's a
cotton.
jewelry store.
Jewelry store.
Egyptian cotton. Yeah.
But behind there's a jewelry store. So was that like?
Yeah, no, I didn't do textile. I thought I'd do a jewelry store. My cousin Jack Adian fell in love with this painting when I had a show in Melbourne at the Sydney Jewish Museum, and his sons bought it for his 60th birthday. That's a number of years ago, as a surprise. In Melbourne, not in Sydney. Yeah, the Jewish Museum in Melbourne.
Lovely.
Voila.
Oh.
This is the Eliyahu Hanavi. I painstakingly recreated the actual synagogue, and I superimposed a wedding, a Jewish wedding.
Quite large, isn't it?
That's a very large painting. It was in the 2017 Jerusalem Biennale. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
Yeah.
We saw that. Yeah.
You saw that. That was in the Jerusalem Biennale.
You very kindly let me put it in my book.
Okay. I want to see your book. I haven't seen your book.
But it's in black and white, sadly.
Well, that works. Black and white works. Why not? I mean,
we got this last minute invitation to Lavana to come to Jerusalem for an evening, and it was a very special evening.
It was a very interesting exhibition, actually, that one in Jerusalem.
The Jerusalem Biennale, yes, the Homeland exhibition.
The Homeland exhibition, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And of course, the synagogue you see there has recently been restored at a cost of $4 million, I think.
No, much more than four. A lot more.
I think it was last year, wasn't it? Last February.
Yes, last February was the inauguration.
Yeah, Levana Zamir went to the opening there. They had a delegation.
That's right. I remember
180 people went. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's lovely. And so my parents were married at the Eliyahu Hanavi in 1946, and I think their wedding would have been similar because they wore top hats, and I know I've got pictures of their wedding. So this is a representation of my parents' wedding.
We went there, didn't we?
Fantastic. Yeah. It's amazing.
So when we went to visit in Alexandria, it was guarded by gendarmes, and it was at the time when they hadn't restored it yet, but it was still, they had an office with, there's some old Jewish people looking after it. But I remember putting my head between the gate and saying in Arabic, my parents were married here. So the top guy said, let her in, let her in.
Oh, that was
kindness. So we went in, we were the only ones.
So you actually went in. Amazing.
Which
we went in and we visited.
Which year was that?
2000.
Which year was it?
2000. Yeah, 21. It doesn't feel. Now this is not particular sentimental value. It's a very large painting that I did of a street in Cairo. I mean, it is sentimental, but I don't have any relatives in it, I don't think. I just wanted to portray those nuns. I just loved the headgear, but you can imagine it's called In the Heat of the Day, and they're wearing the habits which they did, and I don't know if they changed from season to season, but these were the nuns, the little Les Petites Mères du Bon Dieu, or the little nuns of charity, I'm not sure.
Mm.
You've got people in the mosques.
And there's a mosque and the church.
The mosque and the church, yeah.
The haze of the midday sun.
Mm.
Right, that's the end of that thing. I'm going to stop screen sharing and I have to open another file up, so it'll take me a minute.
Oh, okay. Can we talk amongst ourselves?
Yes, I wanted to ask you actually, at what time did you actually...
Oh, I can see Carol Binish. Oh, sorry.
Well, go on, 2-minute
I'm
break
actually-
through everybody who's here.
Yes, I'm checking up to see who told me they were going to be here, and I'm checking up to see if they are in fact here. No, I can't see everybody.
So just to catch up on the comments in the chat, Ralph Astor asks, how long does it take to paint such a picture? So that's one question. And another question from Sarah, were the nannies Jewish nannies from Trieste?
No, they were
weren't. Okay, and
Oh,
then,
had it come up? Oh,
sorry, something hasn't happened yet. Sorry.
Should be happening. Sorry, let me do it
And
again.
Emil says that the tarbouche was popular
Turn
in
on
the
chat.
late
The picture will be there. The
40s,
turn on the
yes.
chat. Hey, turn on the
but
chat.
became unpopular after the
Sounds like on your screen,
NASA.
tell me it come up.
Yeah,
we are here.
After the NASA revolution, the tarbouche ceased to be so popular.
It was banned. But NASA banned.
Yeah. Because everyone was socialist then.
That's right. That's right. He had a little, yes, he embraced Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. So, yeah. No, he banned the tarbouche because it was an indication of class. Or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is another painting. It's on the lake at the summer villa. Formal events taking place, music and champagne. It's called Midnight Recital.
We can almost hear the music. Lovely.
Yes, oh good. No, this is all for, yes, Michelle, another birdcage. She's going to.
Oh, right, from the original. That's right.
Birdcage, yeah, another one. It's a nicer birdcage. She's got several. And this is from, it's called Out of Sidi Gaber. Sidi Gaber is the main train station in Alexandria. And as you can see, it's an old carriage. It's obviously in the 1930s. You have a family traveling to Cairo, and the young lady is very pensive. The father is reading the paper, and the grandmother is smoking the cigarette in the cigarette holder.
There's a station in Alexandria.
Yeah, the main station in Alexandria is called Sidi Gaber. Another bird cage.
Yeah, there she is again.
There she is again. This is called Return to Garden City. It's based on my Tante Grace, my great Tante Grace. She was actually the sister of my grandmother. We lived in a beautiful villa in Garden City in Alexandria, which was a leafy, magnificent suburb. And she used to travel often to Paris to go on shopping trips. And this is portrayed, the depiction of her coming back from one of those trips.
And the heat, it must have been in furs as well.
They wore fur coat as more like a status symbol than for warmth. No matter how, you could see women with fur coats on the beach in Alexandria. That was very much, it didn't really matter. But the winters could get cold in Egypt. I know that we had winters in Alexandria, and I think it can get quite cold in Cairo as well. So, in all fairness to old Aunt Grace, she probably needed to wear it. But as you can see, the Louis Vuitton luggage.
Of course, yes.
And well, the thing is that it might, yes, I'm looking at all my paintings now. It does depict a wonderful era. I didn't get into the despair that we experienced. I think perhaps I wanted to block it.
Interesting.
And
what was your family name? What was your maiden name, Camille?
My maiden name is Mars, M-A-R-S.
Right. This one, unfortunately, the way it comes from email, you can't see the whole picture. It's an amazing picture.
It's an amazing picture, and I love doing it. Well, and my daughter Dalia posed on the bicycle for me. But this shows the road to Montaza, which is the palace. This is just, no, this is not the palace. This is, what was it? It was a building there for anyway, that's the road to Montaza, which was palm lined and oleander trees. And just a little aside about this painting, it was purchased by the Montefiore Jewish home. And I think it's quite, it's quite ironic. They've got this painting in the dining room of Alexandria, Egypt at the Montefiore. I thought that was very, very touching actually. But yes, lots of palm trees in Alexandria, and it looks like this.
Amazing.
Birdcage again.
Where? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is called
Sorry. Zafra is the water system.
Yes, Summer in July. That's on the corniche. That is actually, I was thinking of my maternal grandparents when I painted that. Marie and Murad Seton, my mother's parents, had an apartment overlooking the corniche in Alexandria, and that is a depiction of them. Actually, it does look a bit like my grandmother. It's a depiction, and my grandfather, it's a depiction of them enjoying a morning on the balcony with the sea breeze.
And of course, the bird cage.
Oh, I love bird cages. It seems I didn't realize.
Now the challenge is to spot the bird cage in every picture.
On the bird. I think I've done my dash. This is a quartet. It's called the Alexandria Quartet. It's based on cafe life in Egypt in the 30s and 40s. So they're 4 miniatures that go together and show a cross section, of course, men only in the cafes. It's like the old English pubs and Australian pubs where women didn't go. So this shows you a cross section of Alexandrian gentlemen.
Playing backgammon? No?
Playing backgammon. Is he playing backgammon or chess? I have some
Chess.
backgammon.
I think it looks like chess.
Chess.
Ah,
A large ball scene, it's called, and the Khedive did have an annual winter ball annually, and this is it. This is my depiction of the annual winter ball in the big hall, and you can see there's a big band playing saxophone, and also if you put it down a bit, they've got the chandeliers on the walls. Yes. So this is a bit of fantasy, but I'm sure that's how it would have been in those days.
Fabulous.
Oh, décolletage. This is a painting called The Courtship. Now, it is a very sentimental painting to me, and I have written a little story about this, which I'd like to read if I may.
Of course.
absolutely, yeah.
So this is called The Courtship. In all Egyptian families, Jewish Egyptian families, introductions were arranged in the hope that young ladies would make a good match and bachelors would find a suitable wife. Sometimes those chaperoned meetings were successful and an engagement was soon announced. So this is the painting. Now, to go with the painting, there is a personal story that touched me. And this is the story. We lived together in a large apartment in Alexandria. My grandparents, my parents, me, and my aunt Raymonde, my father's youngest sister. Raymonde was 16 when I was born. By the time she was 20, I was 4 years old, and the introductions to suitable young men had begun. I remember a parade of young men arriving at our door with flowers or chocolates or both. And after the briefest of meeting, this young man was referred by all of us as le fiancé de Raymonde. So Raymonde, from memory, had many fiancés because the minute a young man arrived, he was le fiancé de Raymonde. Men she met very briefly under the watchful gaze of the chaperone and promptly dismissed by her. By the time of our expulsion from Egypt, there was a fiancé in the picture who showed some promise. I think there was more than one meeting at that time, perhaps two. If I remember, his name was Cesar Mizrahi. He was older, plump, with a small mustache and a tarbouche. And Raymond was officially heartbroken when we left Egypt. So we found ourselves on a moshav in southern Israel. At the age of 22, Raymond could be considered over the hill at that time. So not long after our arrival, Raymond caught the eye of a young farmer called Yehuda. He was born Leon in Cairo. At the age of 19, he was an army veteran. He was tall and tanned and never wore a shirt as he crisscrossed the fields on his tractor. To cut a long story short, he laid his eyes on my Aunt Raymond and never looked at another woman in his lifetime. They had a big wedding on our moshav, an outdoor wedding. Everyone came with open shirts and sandals, nothing like the wedding at Eliyahu Hanavi. And together, Raymond and Yehuda lived together for several decades. They have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. That's the little story to go with the courtship.
A very happy ending.
Yeah.
Very happy ending.
I thought the next picture was going to be on the moshav, but sorry.
The moshav, no shirt. Yehuda had no shirt on as he worked. And no sunscreen, I believe, in those days. So this is the last stop. It's inside Egypt, somewhere in a town. Now, my grandfather, Nissim Mars, I found out recently from a cousin of mine that I discovered living in Israel, Yosef Mars, told me that his father, and actually his father's brother, who was my grandfather, came from a town called Tanta. This is how I picture that town would have been with the station, the English, the colonial station and the big train. So this is a scene from the last stop. It is the last stop.
Is that the last picture? No, we've got more pictures.
I've got two. I've got one. This is very quick, no stories on any of these. This one is called the April Flower Show. There was a flower show every year in Alexandria because flowers were very important. And there was a very tough competition for the Winners' Cup. And it was held at the San Stefano Casino every April.
Fantastic. Wow. Such an amazing life. And
they had a wonderful, yes. I'm currently painting Israel in the early days. I'll have to get onto this soon too.
I just can't help wondering how, after the expulsion, when everybody had such privileged lives and it was such high society, and then arriving in Israel in the early days, how was it?
Well, I was 6 years old. It was a big adventure to me, but my grandparents went from crystal chandeliers to kerosene lamp because we had no electricity on our moshav. It wasn't a ma'abara. We had proper housing. My uncle had bought several mesheks in the 1940s. So we had a proper house with plumbing, but no electricity for a couple of years. And it was an outpost, no roads, muddy roads. For me, it was a big adventure. I ran around in shorts and a singlet and sandals. And I was completely oblivious to the despair of my grandparents. They didn't survive the expulsion. And I look back now, it was extremely traumatic for them. My grandparents didn't last. My grandmother died within 2 years of our expulsion. She died on Kfar Aviv, a southern outpost, and her sons, my father and his brother, had to dig her grave because the undertakers couldn't come from Tel Aviv because it was Shabbat. So it was a pouring rainy day, and this was our new life.
You told a lovely story of going from the smell of Chanel. I won't spoil the rest of it.
Yes.
It's really funny. Will you tell us share that story?
Yes, my grandmother Gamila, who passed away at 65 suddenly of a broken heart, used to sip tea in the most luxurious tea houses in Alexandria, where they wearing feathers in her hats, and shocking the Schiaparelli, went to Israel, and we went from that to the smell of the refet. I don't know if everybody knows what the refet is, but you know, I've had a sentimental attachment. The smell of cow manure is not abhorrent to me. I think the whole picture of Israel for me when I was 6 was just this amazing freedom, and it was fields of poppies and cows, and we had goats and chickens. So for me, it was a big adventure, and I was oblivious to what the older generation was going through.
And Camille, your father must have had foresight to have bought property in Israel. Did he?
My grandfather.
Yes, he must have had that foresight. And
oh, yes.
Yeah, you must have been fortunate in that respect of having a property to go to.
Well, it was very basic housing. It was actually in a moshav that was established by Egyptian Jews. Mm-hmm. It was Tel Aviv, and it was only Egyptian Jews. So when we went there, we practically knew of or knew everyone. Mm-hmm. Although, you know, it was a circle, the village, a basic village with the circular around the big field. Very modest housing. It wasn't luxurious. But when I think he must have heard of it through people that they were establishing a moshav, for Egyptian Jews were establishing a moshav. And so he bought 4 properties for us, for his 2 daughters, and for him and my grandmother. And when we arrived there, it was like the first language on the village was French, because everyone spoke French. So my parents and grandparents knew of everyone. So yes, he had foresight, because the winds of war were blowing since 48. It was, you know, there were incidents and things that I didn't know about. Well, I was born then, but I think my grandfather knew what was coming, because every year he took the family to Jerusalem from the 1920s with my grandmother. They would travel by steamship or up the coast to Jaffa, take a train to Jerusalem, and every year he prayed at the wall.
Really?
The last picture of the series is dedicated, I think, to Michelle, Camille, and Lynn, because of the colour of the dress on the right.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Well,
yes. Now, this is a story. This is a short story to tell you, because you asked me if I do commissions. Well, I've started to do special commissions. I was approached by a gentleman in New York, a lovely gentleman in New York, a couple of months ago. And he said that he was born in Egypt, but he was 3 years old when they left to New York, when they went straight to New York. And he wanted something, because he was born in Cairo, he wanted a Cairo street scene to remind him of his parents. So this is his painting.
Oh, that's fantastic to be able to do that and to incorporate all of the characters in. And were there any special, just his parents, or did he bring in any other family members?
Oh, he had a sister. He has a sister who lives there in New York with him, but he's a New Yorker. He was 3 years old, but I think it touched him, because I think he went on, what did you see my work on Jimena? And he said that he really wanted to remember his heritage, his roots.
And what about your own roots? Because Egypt was a very cosmopolitan society, and we know from our various different Harif talks, you know, it was a crossroads for people coming from Europe, from Iraq, from Aden. So where are your family roots from?
Well, it's funny you mention it. As you say, yes, they came on my mother's side. My great grandfather came from Manchester, and he migrated to Aleppo for work, for commerce. And there was a shidduch with a nice Jewish family, and he married my great grandmother. And together they traveled to Alexandria and settled there to open a branch of the business. That's on my mother's side. On my father's side, we have Aden, as you mentioned. We have my great-grandmother came from Morocco. My great-great-grandfather on my mother's side was called Saleh, and he came from Baghdad. Right. So yes, we moved around. Where's it on the screen?
Yep. You're a real melting pot.
I'm a melting pot, and I haven't done my DNA yet. I think I'm too frightened to. But eventually I will do so.
And where's your husband from?
My husband is from London. Tony is English, from a nice Jewish family in North London. He came from, yes. I met him in Sydney, but his grandparents, both his parents were born in England, but his grandparents, one set came from Poland and the other from Russia.
Oh, fantastic! Yes,
but he's embraced Sephardi culture, and he loves the Middle East and Israel
and Australia.
And Bondi. We're in Bondi.
Bondi.
Is there a big Sephardi community in Sydney?
There is a small community. Yes, there is a small community of Sephardi community. There's one Sephardi synagogue in Sydney.
Just one. They haven't split into two yet, then.
The Sephardi split?
Here they're constantly splitting. They fall out with each other and they open another one, and then there's another one, and before you know it, there's 30 or something.
Camille, am I allowed to show your latest work?
My latest work? What is my latest? Oh! That's my other side. That's the other side of my life. This is a magazine. Now, I am a Bondi girl, and I'm very, 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 what's the word that I'm, I am very much emancipated. I'm a Bondi girl. This
liberated.
is
Liberated.
No, not liberated. I'm very much part of the Bondi scene. I do illustrations for a local magazine.
Yeah.
Right.
So quite a contrast.
Yes. Contrast. It's like one foot. But then my other side is completely separate.
Yeah. Two different worlds.
Vignettes. On my website, I have a lot of vignettes of Sydney. So I think people in Sydney really connected to them because it shows our lifestyle.
Well, let's have a look at, because we've got loads of messages here. I'm just.
Oh, nice. I'd like to see that.
Exactly. So let me go back on them. Okay, Ralph, who's part of Harif, has asked, how long does it take? Did we ask this question, Lynn? How long does it take to
I don't know how to answer this. It depends on whether I feel like painting or not. How long does it take? Well, if I work diligently, a large painting could take me up to a month or two.
Right.
If I feel very enthusiastic, I could speed it up. So
Ralph, if you want to give a commission, you've got to allow lots of time, okay?
Oh, yes. Yes, Ralph, you can email me, Ralph.
Lynn, did you announce this one here from Zahra Awad that we're waiting to see you, Camille, in Alexandria?
I think, this lady Zahra is in Alexandria. I think she's a guide. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. Yes, she's a guide. Welcome, Zahra. We cover the whole world at the Harif.
Yes. Hello, Zahra.
Yeah, we are. We're very international now. It's fantastic.
We are.
Nigel Grizzard has put on Netflix is a fascinating Egyptian TV series, Once Upon a Time, about the villas of Alexandria, taking place from 1918 to now. Yes. And they mention the Greeks and the Italians, but not the Jews.
Oh dear.
We went under the radar.
Yeah. Can I just say that we will be having a talk on the 2nd of February by Richard Smuha on Smuha City in Alexandria.
Oh, yeah.
So put that in your diaries.
What date?
The 2nd of February.
The 2nd, okay. At what time? Same time?
Yes, you'll have to get up very early for that.
Oh, that's okay. We're insomniacs. We wake up early.
There's another message here from Zara. The water system in El Montaza Garden was the palace of King Farouk.
Yes. Is that the tower I painted was the water system? Okay.
Yeah. So, and now we've got a message here from Philip and Ruth Waxman. Their aunt was in the Montefiore home in Melbourne. So
yes.
Talked about your painting going there. Their aunt was there.
Yeah, my painting is in Sydney, not in Melbourne.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So, regarding the bull picture, was this a Jewish bull or a secular bull?
As the one.
The painting.
No, it wasn't. Oh no, it was a secular bull. It wasn't a Jewish bull. The wedding was a Jewish wedding, but the bull was secular. Actually, Jews in the court of King Fuad. I think the Qatawis, people from Egypt would know that the Madame Qatawi was the queen's. What do queens have? Ladies in waiting. She was
lady in waiting.
Ladies in waiting.
Yeah.
We'll have one of them.
So, Madame Qatawi, they were a prominent Egyptian family, the Qatawis, and they were very much involved with the royal household.
Okay. Barbara, there's many characters in your paintings. Did you use photos for the faces?
No, I can do faces. I do faces. They don't resemble anyone particularly. Yes, I enjoy doing faces. No, I don't use. I use photos for references for buildings. And so for, let's say, hats, if I need to find a nice hat. But the faces, I do faces. I'm a portrait painter as well, so.
Yeah, no, they're so expressive. They're
thank you.
amazing. From Camille, you left Egypt at the age of 6, i.e. 1954.
Yes.
All these paintings with great detail are based on your memories when you were only 6 years old.
No. Mohammed going to school was my memory. Several tea rooms was memory of my great aunt and my grandmother. But the balls, no, I didn't actually go to those balls. And I heard stories. My parents told me stories, family relatives told me. So it's all a composite. My memory and genetic memory as well.
And what did your family think of your paintings? When did you actually start? Yes.
Well, I've got some of my family from Israel watching, Sagit. I think they like my paintings. My parents took it for granted because I started very early, and they liked it. I was always encouraged, I have to say.
Did either of your parents paint?
No. My husband said that my family has been very supportive on both sides. My husband has been very supportive. You need support when you embark on such a.
Of course.
And I have cousins on both sides. My cousin Jack, my cousin Jean-Pierre, they've all been very, very supportive. When I first started, they were the first ones to buy paintings at my first exhibitions, and I thank you for that.
Is your cousin Ilan? Is that the one that shall I unmute them?
My cousin.
Shall I unmute the cousin? What is it?
Ilan is my cousin. Yes, he's married to. Yes, they're my cousin's daughter and husband.
Right, I will unmute them.
Okay.
Is he Ilan and Sagit? Are they on? Are they?
Yes.
I've asked them to unmute. Just when you said the name, I thought.
We are here.
Oh, okay.
It should be unmuted.
This is your life.
Yeah.
Ilan, are you there? Sagit?
I can see them waving.
I can't see.
But
them.
unmuted you. Come and join the conversation.
You can join us. Say something.
You've muted me or you've muted them?
I've unmuted them.
Yeah.
Or you've unmuted. Lilan Sagit, you're unmuted.
Yeah, but do you hear us?
Yes.
Ilan, I can see. Ilan Sagit.
Lovely.
Miss you a lot.
You're on, you can say something.
Really? Is it what? What is the
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
How are you?
Good.
By the way, I have something. 1 second. 1 second.
Okay, Mr.
A surprise. Fantastic.
Closer. Can you sort of twist it around, flush to the screen?
Yeah. No, that's the back.
Yeah, that's a print. The original is a huge giant. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
You pin it, Lawrence.
They're real fans.
Around.
Lawrence, can you pin it so that, oh, he's taking
I did pin them when they were on. Is there
Oh,
anyone
okay.
who wants
Maybe
to-
it's me that's
Who
got-
wants to be speaking or you want to talk to, Camille?
I think we'll just unmute everyone at the end.
Okay,
No,
so, anybody, so we've gone through all of the, have we gone through all of the questions here? Yes, we have.
Yeah, I think we have.
Okay.
So now's the opportunity for anybody who wants to ask a question to Camille or comment.
Right, do you want to raise your hand rather than getting 50 people talking at once, if that's possible?
Okay, so Lawrence.
Let's go.
Who wants to speak then?
Very good. We have Holly from Wisconsin.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
I get Holly.
Merci beaucoup, Camille, for paintings.
Right, what's Holly's name? I don't have Holly on here. Oh,
No,
sorry.
it
My
doesn't.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay.
Well,
Right, shall I unmute everyone then and everyone can say their hellos or whatever?
yeah,
Oh, nice.
I think we're coming to the end now because I know you're probably in need of a strong coffee to keep you awake after that.
Oh, we've already had them. We've already had them too.
Right.
So
Okay.
Michelle,
Okay, so we'll wrap up then if nobody else has got any more questions. It was absolutely fantastic. It was totally fascinating. And I feel like you're here in my home. It's fantastic. So you'll have to let us know when you're coming to London. Please,
Oh,
God,
absolutely.
is over. But
Yeah.
in the
We don't
meantime,
know.
this is amazing having Zoom, and it's been
Oh, yeah.
absolutely amazing to hear your story, share your artwork. So thank you so much. It's been really wonderful.
Oh, thank you for having me. And hopefully in London soon. We don't know. We are under a semi-lockdown. We
wish we were under a semi-lockdown here.
yeah, we can't travel. We've had to cancel a trip just 3 hours away from here because it's been deemed a hotspot.
Well, we can't go 500 meters from here. That's non-essential travel.
Yeah. So basically, we're also under semi-lockdown.
But
Soon, hopefully, please God, soon, because I've got people to see in Israel and London, both Israel and London.
We'll see you.
If you like the paintings, Camille has an incredible website called camillefox.com, which is now safe to visit after a bit of excitement last week. And it's got every picture I think she's ever painted, including a lot more on Egypt. And that's also done apart from Bondi Beach.
It's Camille Fox Art.
Right, Camille Fox Art. Okay,
Yeah.
So
well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored, and it was a pleasure. And I had notes, but I didn't look at my notes. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you very much, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon.
I'm now going to unmute everyone, so everyone can say their goodbyes or whatever.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Look at how I do it.
We all on unmute? No, not everybody's on.
Everyone can unmute themselves now.
Thank you so much, Camille.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
From Israel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, merci beaucoup.
Thank
Merci
you,
beaucoup.
Camille. Beautiful pictures.
Avec moi.
Camille, I have just a question. I have a fez or tarbouche. Like a lot of people that you paint, they have a fez. Could you make me also a paint, please?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Non, non, dites de nouveau. Non, non, le fez, c'est marocain.
C'est ça.
Le tarbouche, c'est égyptien.
C'est ça, c'est ça. En général, on le met pour la mimouna, n'est-ce pas? C'est très...
N'est-ce pas? Non, non, moi, je suis d'Égypte, on le met tout le temps. Le tarbouche,
moi, je suis d'Égypte et d'adoption.
Est-ce qu'il y a une différence entre le fez et le tarbouche?
How do they speak French?
Non, c'est le nom. C'est le nom seulement. C'est tout pareil.
Whenever it was they took over,
Les Juifs avaient une calotte spéciale rouge en Algérie et en Tunisie. Et au Maroc, ils avaient la chéchia noire. C'était imposé par les Arabes qui avaient imposé ça.
Ah bon? OK. En Égypte, la chéchia, c'est le truc là derrière qui est attaché. C'était noir sur un tarbouche rouge.
Oui, un juif n'avait pas le droit de mettre ça, et un juif n'avait pas le droit de mettre non plus, cannot make babouche, yellow ones, you know, royal, des choses que ils avaient que droit une demi-babouche, n'est-ce pas? Et donc ils avaient la quand et le chachia comme ça ici sur le côté là comme ça.
Ça c'était au Maroc.
Au Maroc, oui, au Maroc, oui.
Ah oui, bah c'était différent. En Égypte, on pouvait faire ce qu'on voulait. Et
très dur, très dur.
Oui, c'était différent.
Only rich people could get out from the house of the Mela with half a babouche.
Ah, okay.
Half they could do because we're in Harif, yes. So we can remember these things. Yes, yes. Only when the French people arrive that more or less the thing changes, but not all the time. Very, very difficult situation.
Ah bon? Vous habitez où, monsieur?
J'habite à Jérusalem et je suis né à
Casablanca.
À Casablanca, de famille judéo-espagnole.
Ah bon, ok. Ça me fait plaisir d'entendre toutes ces voix du parcours.
J'avais vu quelques travaux. Sorry.
Je suis aussi née à Alexandrie.
Ah bon?
Oui.
Okay.
Et je vis à Londres.
Ah, vous aussi à Londres?
Oui, oui. Et vos peintures ont évoqué un passé merveilleux.
Ah oui.
Oh, merci beaucoup.
Et surtout de voir, de voir quelle belle société nous étions, sophistiqués et pas du tout, comment dire, Middle Eastern.
Non, il y en avait, c'était un bon mélange. Oui, mais nous étions sophistiqués. Je sais de mes parents, mes grands-parents, toutes les histoires et tout ça, ils nous ont dit que c'était...
Et surtout, vous représentez les femmes, comment elles s'habillaient. Elles avaient énormément de plaisir à être bien maquillées, bien fardées et embijoutées, etc.
Et parfumées.
Et parfumées. Il ne faut jamais oublier ça.
Non, c'est ça. Oui, c'est ça. Alors, on montre ce qu'on a perdu, ce qu'on a... Parce que les gens s'imaginent que nous venons de l'Afrique du Nord et nous sommes... enfin, ça montre ce qu'on a perdu, ce qu'on était et ce qu'on est toujours encore, j'espère.
En effet. On a gardé ce plaisir-là, cette façon de vivre et malgré tout, on n'a pas oublié. Voilà.
Non, c'est ça, on n'a pas oublié. Voilà, on se rappelle, il faut se rappeler tout le temps ce que nous sommes, ce qu'on est.
Oui.
Oui. Non, mais ça m'a fait plaisir. Ça m'a fait plaisir et j'espère que, voilà, vous avez...
Je m'appelle Suzy Dweck. Mon mari...
Suzy Dweck. Ouais. Je connais la famille Dweck.
Ouais,
je connais bien la famille Dweck. Vous étiez...
Mon mari venait la famille de mon mari venait d'Alep.
Ah bon, oui, la famille de maman aussi venait d'Alep.
Et du côté de mon père, je venais de Turquie, d'Istanbul.
Okay.
Oui, Istanbul. Voilà.
Constantinople.
Oui, oui, voilà. Bon, merci encore une fois de tous ces bons souvenirs. Et on espère qu'on vous verra à Londres.
Oh, j'espère bien, oui, quand ça va se finir. Nous devons prendre le vaccin et voyager, c'est ce qu'il faut faire.
Exactement, exactement.
Ok, ça m'a fait plaisir. Shalom, shalom.
Merci beaucoup, merci. À bientôt.
Merci beaucoup.
À bientôt.
Merci beaucoup, avec moi.
Thank you, Camille. It was very interesting meeting you today.
Thank you very much. It was lovely. It was a very enjoyable way to spend the morning. Thank you.
Can you see that the blank wall behind Lynn? That blank wall? That's where it's going to go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Lynn, where's Lynn? I can't see Lynn.
I'm here.
Sorry. Lynn, where is Lynn?
Oh, Joseph, my cousin. My cousin Joseph.
Hi, cousin. How are you?
Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Camille.
שלום, ג'וזף, מה שלומך?
מצוין, תודה.
יופי לראות אותך, יוסי.
כן, נהניתי מאוד.
באמת.
כן, היה ממש כיף. It was delightful.
It was all good. Did you enjoy hearing about your family?
Yes, of course. There's so many stories still yet to tell.
Yeah.
Sorry, share and end. Sorry, Lynn, when the machine slipped. Right, that's fine. Now you can see Lynn and me.
No.
And I can see Zahra. ازيك يا زهرة؟
ازيك يا حبيبتي عاملة ايه؟ منورة.
وحشتيني يا بنت.
وحشتيني جدا جدا. I miss you حبيبتي.
I miss you too.
يلا تعالي، يلا بينا، يلا تعالي بسرعة.
إن شاء الله يا رب.
So nice. Lawrence, take care how you take the poster down.
I know, I got to be careful where I poke in with the post with. I know about that.
I think we will have to end it now, don't we?
Really? Oh.
It was lovely. It was lovely.
But it's been really lovely. It's been really, it's like you're in our sitting room and having everybody around like this.
It's absolutely wonderful. And wonderful to see you all. It's lovely. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I wish you all the best.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Wonderful work.
And now you can see where it's going to go properly.
And the cylinder, I waited this afternoon, it's going.
No, that's fine. You can see it's going to go with the other nice, bright, colourful things.
Show me? Oh, yes. Very so. It's a side of you. It's a new side of you, Lawrence.
We've got lots of things. We've got lots of things with a bit of humour and wit in them, and it was for a very good cause.
They're big collectors.
Yeah, no, but the fact it was being raised for charity, and when I said to James that people hadn't donated the proper amount, I thought, well, let's get it going properly. So to James.
That's right, because people didn't. Yes, exactly. Well, James has been touched. He recently lost his brother, 38 years old.
Oh no.
Yes, exactly. So it's something that it's a very worthy cause, and we're going to donate it to the center and have to make a wish foundation that they make the people with terminal cancer get their wish come true. Yeah. So that's a very worthy.
Michelle had an interesting thought before. Did you discuss it with Camille? The thought was that we do a kind of Harif calendar, and half the proceeds go for your charity and half the proceeds go to Harif.
Yes, I thought for the Jewish New Year, if we work on it for next September or whenever the date.
Okay.
Yeah,
that would be lovely.
Fantastic.
I'm all for causes. I'm all for causes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk.
Okay. Well, we've still got other people in the conversation, so we'll do that by email afterwards.
Yes, we'll do that. Yes, definitely. Let's get the wheels rolling.
Okay, lovely. Well, it's been really lovely. And there's still people here, so I think we're probably better.
We don't want to end. It's been so lovely.
Okay.
We're going to end it.
Thank you
We
very
don't
much.
want to end.
Have a great day, everyone.
I'm glad to see.